Good evening. Welcome to the Celtic Way post-match reaction. Celtic 2, St Mirren 1. Oh, what a night for Rodgers Super Subs is our strapline. I'm Tony Haggerty at Haggerty10 on the X handle, Twitter handle, and I'm joined by Ryan McGinlay at the Ryan McGinlay on the X handle and the Twitter handle. He's live from outside Parkhead, as you can see. Hello, young man. How are you? Did you enjoy that?
No, wasn't. I'll be honest. I was nervous the whole of the second half. It wasn't an enjoyable performance. It was very much one that had to be pushed out at the end. But I think the crowd sort of came together. They understood that there needed to be that extra bit of oomph in the last 10 minutes, and they all came together, and it all ended up being a massive crescendo at the end of the day. Delighted with the 3 points. You know, it was a late-ish winner. I know we go live at 10-ish on on the morning briefings, but it was a late-ish winner. 82 minutes, I think, was on the clock. 83 minutes.
83, I think, yeah.
It felt like a lot later than that. It felt like there was a real rush to get a goal. It was panic stations, didn't know what was going to happen. There was subs going on, there was stops in the play, but Celtic managed to find a way. And what a way to score your first goal under Brendan Rodgers for Holm.
Yeah, it certainly put a better smile on my face. I'm been under the weather all week and I was feeling terrible during that second half, not because of the way Celtic were playing, just in general. But yeah,
Where was I when it cut off? Sorry.
You were saying what a way to. You didn't cut off, actually. You said what a way to score your first goal under Brendan Rodgers. And
yeah, what a way for O to really announce himself. You know, I think he's had to deal with playing with a lot of minutes when games are maybe over and then maybe there isn't an intensity to the play. But this seemed to suit him because there was a job to do. He came on, there was a goal to be had. It was at home. The fans were getting a wee bit tetchy towards the end, but they all came together for the final 10 minutes, and it was a well worked goal at the end.
I think that's what O's Celtic careers needed. A meaningful contribution. The goals you scored have been kind of like the second and third one in games and stuff when, Celtic were more or less guaranteed the result. That's a meaningful contribution when he's came on and he's been the difference. And what a goal. Absolutely brilliant.
I thought he'd skied it.
By the way, there's, in fact, everything about that goal is a brilliantly crafted football goal. From Kyogo's touch to Odin Thiago Holm's slide pass in. It's brilliant. It's utterly
emphasis brilliant. On the Thiago, emphasis on the middle
very that much
was
so.
eye of the needle Thiago Alcantara stuff.
Yeah, camel through the eye of the needle stuff. So that was it. It reminded me of Jackie Mack's pass to Craig Burley in '98. That kind of side foot shunt. You know, it was brilliant.
You're gonna nod, even though I don't.
Yeah, I know you don't know what I'm talking about, but go and have a look at it. Right, New Year '98, Celtic 1-0. The Lambert and Burley game, as it's known. But Jackie McNamara has a kind of similar type shuffle of the foot pass to Burley, who buries it. But buried his. Great first touch, get out his feet, and what a strike. Hot shot Hamish-esque. And then it just bowls.
Right in the roof of the net as well.
Oh, yeah. You're not saving that. And I think, as I say, I think that's what his Celtic career needs. I think he'll go from strength to strength. And he'll be a more confident striker now, because he knows he can be relied upon to produce the goods now. And I think he'll relax on it as well. I'm hoping he relaxes on it, because I think there's a player there, not just bursting it out. And sometimes you can try too hard to impress, and it doesn't happen. So I think everybody was delighted for him, delighted that he scored late on. It was all one-way traffic, wasn't it? And Kyogo should have probably put a wee bit better gloss on it. But I think you cannot argue, Ryan, with the substitutions that the manager made tonight. Odin Thiago Holm in particular. Yang was very good too, and O's been the difference maker by scoring the winning goal. It is, when you look back on it, it will be viewed upon as a crucial and vital 3 points in the season.
Yep, absolutely. It doesn't matter how you win it. You know, for a lot of that second half, I did not see where the goal was coming from. There was a lot of really bitty play, a lot of the midfield getting missed out, not really anything happening in the midfield. it's one of those games that you look back on and you say, you take the 3 points, you get up the road, or for a lot, you're playing at home, just get up the road, get the 3 points, and just regroup and just 3 points, and that's it. I don't know what more to say with regard to the result. A lot of poor performances, I would say, on the night. A lot of players maybe didn't do themselves a lot of good in the long term, but that will all get forgotten about. It all gets forgotten about because they get the win at the end of the day. And, I think it was great game management at the end, apart from maybe 1 or 2 moments. At the end, I don't know what he's doing, because he's... so they've got a short corner. I think it was Yang to O, and they're just holding on to it.
Excellent. Lots of comments coming in, Ryan, so we'll take a few. Chilpil, evening Chilpil, how you doing? How good was Yang when he came on? You wrote, you were going to write about Yang, your instant analysis, but you changed it to Odin Thiago Holm, didn't you? Yeah, you're back in the room. It's all good. I'll keep it going like elevator music, you know what I mean? In the meantime, here's some music. So chuffed, goal scored, says Blake Owen. He likes someone, he wants him to do well.
I think he's got a really good touch. I think he's got a really, really nice touch, as does Yang. Yang definitely has something about him. There was a bit of confidence when he came on. I think he sensed that there was an opportunity to be had there. He was replacing Palmer, who I actually thought Palmer was one of Celtic's better players in the first half. He was trying to make things happen, him and O'Reilly. O'Reilly was getting man-marked out of the game, to be honest with you. But Palmer was trying to make things happen. It was one of those sort of... He was having a much better game than the other player that was next to him, unfortunately. James Forrest, a game that he'll want to forget. It was a very, very poor performance by his standards, but it doesn't matter. Celtic have got the win at the end of the day, the 3 points. We can talk about performances after the game, but right now we need to enjoy the 3 points, basically, because for a long time that it didn't look like it was certain, even with the chances that Celtic had with regard to penalty, with that penalty to Turnbull, had other chances as well, but 2-1 up the road, 3 points on the board.
Sometimes you have to grind it out, Ryan. I think Celtic
One ugly
did that time. Yeah, one ugly. Yep. Mm-hmm. Some power in his shot, says Blake Owen. Certainly was. Paul Archibald coming in. No. Hail Tony Mitty before Hibs away. He did, and we had a good chat. 3 important points. Yang was good. Yeah, he did meet you. We were walking down the street and talking. Yep, indeed. Cheers for that, Paul. Lewis Grant, that was his entire Celtic career in that shot there. Yes. I think it's a game changer for him in terms of his Celtic career, Ryan. Here's hoping so. Graham Caldwell, St Mirren man, coming on. Well done, guys. And I think St Mirren played as well as he possibly could. I'm delighted we have competed with the Celtic. We've competed, but the Celtic squad depth was still too much to compete with. That's very magnanimous, Graham. Thanks for tuning in. And thought you guys were excellent as well. Got yourself in front of something to hold on to.
Well organised.
We knew exactly what we're going to face with Stephen Robinson's team, and you're up there on merit, mate. So, yeah, indeed, thank you for that. Appreciate the message as well. And hope you have a decent season and continue to play the football that you've been playing all season. You'll certainly win more than you lose playing like that.
It was a very, very well worked first goal for St Mirren.
I thought it was a cracking goal, actually.
It was a perfect cross in, one of those crosses that's very, very difficult to defend against. And the header's just as good.
And the header's perfection.
Fair play to it.
Header's
Joe Hart
perfection.
Can't save it. Nah. And I thought Joe Hart did a couple of really important things in the game with his distribution, but he couldn't do anything with that. I did say that St Mirren were going to score. I just didn't expect him to score.
Yeah.
And
indeed.
Celtic were only ahead for about 10 minutes in the game, and yet that's all that mattered.
Joe Curran, that was a hard one. It was indeed, Joe. Ronald Devey coming in. Kyogo should have buried that instead of trying to chip the goal. He should have buried it. You're right. Chilpil saying he loved the way O ran over to Brendan after he scored his goal. Of course, he's going to run over to his manager, let him know that I'm the man. Yang was a distance. Holm looked good. We did say that Holm was going to get minutes, didn't we, Ryan? We said it. Because Yang is showing enough, though. We know there's a player in Odin Thiago Holm. Blake Owen, the subs of Yang and Holm really did well when they come on. Good strength from the bench tonight. Yep, it was them that won the match for Celtic in the end, wasn't it?
Do you think there was a bit of anger from Yang? A bit of a fight back from not getting on the pitch against Hibs at the weekend? A wee bit of...
There could well be, Ryan. I've told you before, but that's what you want. You want guys rattling the manager's door. You want them to be angry when they don't play. I said the way the manager spoke I thought he would play Forrest. I wasn't saying I wanted Forrest in the team. I just thought the way he was speaking that he would include him because he was bigging him up. But I don't think Forrest did himself any favours tonight. Just wasn't at all. So, according to Twitter, he was getting some abuse from the Celtic supporters. Or I don't know if you can confirm that or not. But Pelter's no, he wasn't. That's fine. Okay, so but
I think there was just a touchy mood, but I think a lot of that is down to a lot of the off field stuff that's happening as well. There was a real nervousness in the crowd. I think that was maybe down to the fact they dropped points at Hibs as well, and they didn't want that skid to happen. You've got to stop the skid from happening. You can't make it into 2-3 games.
Yeah,
and
of course.
They did that. It doesn't matter how they do it. At the end of the day, the only scoreline, the only metric that really matters at the end of the day is the win, and it's 2-1 to Celtic. So, 3 points. You can't grumble with 3 points. It doesn't matter how many goals you score, as long as you score more goals than the opponent, it's a win.
Plunge McNugget, great win, another poor performance, absolutely freezing. Hugh James McAvoy saying their keeper was the man of the match. Brilliant pass from Holm for the goal, says Chilpel. We've spoken about that. It's a wonderful pass. Francis Lester, well, that was uncomfortable towards the end. Nearly shot herself in the foot straight after scoring. But thanks to Big Phillips for some last-ditch defending.
I think it was an offside. There was an offside in that bit. It kept on going. The play, I don't know what phase it was, but it must have been about the 4th or 5th phase. Celtic were kind of clinging on for that point, but there was a phenomenal block from Phillips at the end, and I don't know if it was Joe Hart or one of his fellow defenders that goes up to him and basically gives him a pat on the back. Basically, you bailed us out there with that. An emergency defender. That's what he was called. And there was an emergency at the back, and he put out that fire.
Yes, he did. Callum McDougall, wee Kyogo, not a Larson just yet. He didn't manage to make that dink laugh out loud. I thought he could have. That's a phenomenal
save.
It's a good save. I think it's a really bad miss. I've got to be honest. I think he should just, bury it, basically. So not try and be as clever or too clever. Dennis Jameson coming on. Yang Holm certainly made a difference. Really pleased for all. Apart for the penalty miss, thought Turnbull did well too. Yeah, I don't want to labour the point about penalties, but Celtic aren't very good at them, are they? Let's be honest.
Absolutely, and they're getting a few. They're getting a few recently.
Well, that's 5 this season, right? And they've missed their last 2. Hatate off the post against Hearts, wasn't it?
And they shouldn't have scored the one at Livingston either.
And Turnbull, the keeper should have saved the one at Livingston, exactly. So was that a 60% conversion rate? Which, thankfully, they've not come back to haunt you and cost you dearly yet. But I was making the point in my instant analysis. It's time to have an old-fashioned penalty kick competition at the training to see who's the best striker of a ball from 12 yards. And to the victor, the spoils, they take the penalties if somebody can prove themselves well, because it's very uncertain, isn't it, at the minute, when Celtic get a penalty, who's going to take it. And, it thankfully, as I say, it's not cost you points yet, but it will in the long run, or it will cost you, at a critical stage, a crucial juncture in some match. So need to try and nail that down and get it sorted. I know anybody can miss a penalty, sent a goalie the wrong way, but still hit the post, But I have to say, I thought it was a cracking strike from Turnbull to get Celtic back level, and that's what he's got in his locker, isn't it?
Sorry, what was the first part to that?
I'm saying he sent a goalie the wrong way with the penalty, but still hit the post, but he scored a cracking equaliser. He's got that in his locker, hasn't he? We actually expect it from him within that range, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's a player that I'm looking forward to doing the stats bomb report, because just me personally, I thought he had a bit of an off night apart from the goal. I thought all he did was the goal and then missed the penalty. But I'll be interested to see. Obviously, that's just an opinion, but I want to see more into his performance. I want to see his key passes, maybe his on-ball values as well. He could come up better in the statistics, but just purely from an eye test view, I thought he wasn't playing as well as what we know that he can do. It's a weird one with Turnbull, because I wasn't a fan of the way he celebrated. I've got to be honest. When I seen that he put his fingers in his ears, I'm like, just get on with the game. Base. I know you've been getting criticism. He probably could hear the criticism from the crowd. The reason for that was because his passing was off until he scored, until he got that breakthrough. So in one way I do understand it, but in another way, don't put a target on your back by by making yourself public enemy number one with the fans. You know, you've got to make your way into this first team somehow. There'd be people debating he should be in the first team if, you know, he's got 6-7 months left in his contract. If he's not signed that new deal, then what does that say about his commitment? I don't want to put that on a player, but it's just the arguments that people will have, especially when you've got guys on the bench that are looking for a permanent contract, like Bernardo, like Holm. But he did the business. He got the goal. Yes, he was unlucky with the penalty, but, you know, at the end of the day, he still missed the penalty. And, you know, it's clear that Brendan Rodgers sees something in him, because he took Matt O'Reilly off before, and he left Turnbull on for the full 90 minutes. So, you know, I'm happy with his goal. It's an absolute stunner of a goal. We know that that's capable. I just want a bit more from him. I want a bit more oomph in his game, to be honest, because we know it's there. We've seen it at Motherwell. I just want to see the Celtic version come out more often. And if he does that, then he'll be well worthy of a new contract if it comes his way. But I think he's still got some more work to do.
Yep, I think he's got still a lot to convince the manager that he's worthy of a new deal. And I say to you, looking at that tonight, who did more to impress you? Despite the fact he scored a goal and missed a penalty, I still thought Thiago Holm impressed me greatly. And if you're asking me who I've given a choice between the two guys to go into the starting 11 on Saturday, Thiago Holm wins it hands down for me personally. Right?
He's got that bit of oomph about him, Thiago Holm. It's the way. And now, if you're looking for somebody that's going to step into the role that Hatate. Now, I was saying to the people next to me, there's a Hatate-shaped hole in this midfield tonight, because you miss him. Celtic are going to miss a player like Hatate. Now, I know there's favouritism, because I know I really do enjoy watching the player in person, but at the same time, anybody that watches football knows that Celtic will miss a player like Hatate when he's not in and around that team. And there needs to be somebody that can break the lines like Hatate can. It might not be at the same level of Hatate, but we know that Thiago Holm can carry the ball. He can carry the ball and dribble it really, really nicely. He showed that, and there was a couple of moments where he was running with the ball, and the ball just sticks to him. It's when he's dribbling, the ball doesn't go too far ahead of him. It sticks to his feet. A bit like the way Stefan Johansson used to carry with the ball. If we can get somebody with that bit of bite about him, that's got the good passing range too, and get an eye for a goal. I know he didn't score, but he got the assist. I think he was also the player that put the ball into Kyogo for that chipped shot. So, you know, he really should be walking away with 2 assists tonight. And then I think there'd be absolutely no doubt on who would be starting on Saturday. If he is fit, then I think he's got to be playing from now on.
No doubt in my mind who's starting on Saturday. He has to start. I really was impressed. I've been impressed with him since he came in. Yeah, he blotted his copybook in Rotterdam, but he's young and he's impetuous and he'll learn. And I think that's what Brendan Rodgers said. As soon as that happened, put his arm around him and said he'll learn. Was out injured for a while. He's back. He's back with a bang. You can't underestimate the quality of that pass. That just to your mind thinking like that. Again, seen it in pictures, you know, when O's darted in there and it's just that the way he shapes his foot to pass it. Not many players can think like that and execute it as well as that to perfection, where all O has to do is get the ball out his feet, 2 touches, banks in the back of the net. Crucial, you know, keeping cool, keeping your head in a pressure situation, because it's one of the few chances that you carved out and you created in the second half, despite you being all over St Mirren in that sense, or territorially all over them. But you never created a lot of, you know, clear-cut goal-scoring opportunities. So both of them knew they had to be clinical at that moment, and that's what I liked about them. They were when the moment arrived, they stepped up to the plate and made sure that they executed it to perfection. And, you know, just saying to the manager, you know, we're here. We can do a job. We can dig you out a hole. Trust us. We can be that impactful player that you want from the bench, or if you trust us to start, we'll deliver. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm just delighted that Celtic managed to get it over the line tonight, rather than be on this sort of post-match briefing and talk about
draws?
And more and 3 draws in a row. I know the Athletic Madrid result feels like a win in some ways, just due to the way that Celtic stood up to the opposition. But there was a certain point where I was close to writing a tweet that Celtic are hemorrhaging points here at the moment. you know, that those points are just going down and down, and it wasn't ideal. But I'm glad that I never press send on that tweet or that post on X, because they managed to put things right and make things and get the 3 points. I'm not going to say it would have been an injustice if Celtic if Celtic didn't get the 3 points, because St Mirren defended really, really well. But over the balance of play, I think the win, just a narrow win, was a fair result on reflection. The Celtic were making all the chances. Yang had chances. Kyogo had the chance, obviously, at the end after 2-1. Maybe it could have been a bit more comfortable, but I think a narrow win was fair, because I don't think St Mirren deserved to be hammered in the game. Now, if Celtic had scored early on in that second half, it could have been like that, because we've seen what happens when St Mirren run out of steam. We've seen that last season. I think did O not score against St Mirren last season?
Yeah.
He scored a double, I think. And then he missed an absolute sitter in the league. I think one was in the Scottish Cup and then the other one was in the league with a header at the end. He didn't have any doubt in his head where that ball was going when it came to him. It's as if he was like, this is the opportunity that I've been waiting on.
Yep.
And he made one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and he made sure that was skyrocketing in the back of the net. And yeah, hopefully this is a launch pad for him to get to better things for Celtic.
It's his 8th career Celtic goal, but he hasn't scored a more important one. And I think strikers want to know that they can make a valid contribution, not like the 3rd goal or 4th goal and a 3 or 4 goal route. They want to know that they can score winners when the pressure's on, and the pressure was on in that moment, and he executed it well. He crashed the ball into the back of the net. So I was delighted for him, but delighted personally for the way he took it as well. Graham Caldwell coming back in, saying that St Mirren have their own social media pages, but no podcast as such. He's just a football fan and he likes listening to alternative content. Ryan and Tony are very knowledgeable guys and good presenters. That's very kind.
Really appreciate that, Graham. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, my friend, and you're welcome to stay on here and give us your opinion. I think you said that if Celtic don't want Turnbull, that St Mirren will take him, because Turnbull might relish the chance to work with Stephen Robinson again, but maybe couldn't afford his wages. But don't think Celtic are at the point of wanting to sell David Turnbull just yet. But I'm sure Brendan will let Stephen Robinson know if that's the case.
I'm not sure exactly what the player's name is, but number 20 for St Mirren was really giving Nat Phillips a bit of problems on the wing. He kept on going 1v1 against Nat Phillips, and he was getting some joy against him. You know, Phillips is a big guy, he's very strong, and he was getting pushed off the ball a couple of times by the number 20. Now, I'm sorry, I don't know his name. If anybody could look that up, and then
Graham will come in and tell us probably.
But the number 20 really, really impressed me. And the guy next to me when he was getting substituted said Nat Phillips would be absolutely delighted that he's coming off, because he's running ragged the whole game. Looks like a really good player, number 20. There's a couple of really good players in there for St Mirren, and it's no coincidence.
So you're saying Olasanya is that's his name?
He looked like a good player tonight. It was a good performance, and it was a really good. Just going back to their goal as well, and I want to give them credit for their goal, because it was a really well worked cross into I think it was McMenamin that got the header. It was a really, really nice header into the back of the net. So they're deserving to be in 3rd place at the moment. I think that's where they are still. I'm not sure with regard to the other results how it looks, but they'll be there or thereabouts. They deserve to be near the top of the table for their start to the season. They can feel hard done by with the 2 results against Celtic and Rangers respectively, but I don't think their season will be defined on games like that. They'll try and get points off of your Aberdeen, your Hearts, etc.
I've got to be honest, I was very worried when St Mirren went 1-up, because they had something to cling to and something to defend, and I thought this could be one of those nights. And so I was delighted that the Celtic got back on terms so quickly with Turnbull's cracking strike, and then he more frustrated when he slams the post with the penalty, and that was coupled with my mood and my actual the way I was feeling. So I was just thinking.
I've got to say though, and I've got to say, just going on that, and I'm glad that Celtic got back onto level terms, but it still was just the atmosphere on the ground was very, very touchy and very, very nervy. And like I said at the start of the show, I think a lot of that is down to the fact that the Green Brigade weren't at the game and that atmosphere. So then that was then translating onto the pitch as well, I reckon. didn't help the fact that the boys stood in solidarity with the Green Brigade and they staged a walkout after putting a banner up. So all of a sudden there was no atmosphere, or no atmosphere from an ultras group. There was no like steady songbook getting sung and with regard to songs or chants. So there was the crowd, there was bits of the ground that were trying to get things going, but it's very, very difficult when you don't have a drum or whatever to keep things going, or a bit of a march.
Did you not take your drum, little drummer boy? No, did you not take it?
26, man, come on. I would have get hurled out in my section. My section is definitely not the singing section, that is for sure. But yeah, I think it needs to get resolved. And I made this point in the incident analysis. This cannot go on for months. This has got to be resolved very, very quickly.
Yeah, of course.
One way or the other. There's got to be resolutions put in place. There's got to be an agreement put in place by the two. I know both. It takes two to tango, but they've both got to sit down and get that sorted, because it cannot affect home games going forward. It's too much of a negative effect.
Ryan, there has to be adult conversations. End of. It's none of this he said, she said. Sit down, discuss it amicably, come thrash out a solution, because it's not a irretrievable situation, from either side, so just get the truth out there and accept it and move on, shake hands and move on, and for the betterment of Celtic Football Club, for the betterment of, as you say, the match atmosphere at home. Something has to give here, concession on both sides, but just an amicable, peaceful solution. Because, as I say, it's not an irretrievable situation, and it's not something that you want to be detrimental to the Celtic team at home games moving forward. So, that's basically the cut and thrust of it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not just saying that as a punter going to the game. I'm saying that because it translates onto the park as well. Yeah. I think they need that. And you've seen that, and I don't want to make excuses for the 2020-21 season, but Celtic really do rely on the fans as that 12th man to get them going in games and to get them over the line in games. The reason why Celtic went ahead late on, not just because of the quality on the pitch, was because the fans were together in the last 10 minutes, roaring them on in the last 10 minutes. They all became a hive mind. It became a hive mind, and it worked, and it came to fruition. There's got to be a togetherness. Things have got to be thrashed out for the betterment of the club, because everybody's got to be pulling in the same direction, or it will go by the wayside, unfortunately. But as it stands, I'm not going to say they got away with it because it was a well-worked goal, but the Celtic players will know, and the Celtic manager will know, that they were in a game tonight and they got out the other side. They were in a game on Saturday as well, and they had the chances, they just didn't take them. But they got that golden opportunity, and decided to become the hero, and the rest is history already.
I don't mind being in a game, and as long as you come through it, winning ugly, grinding it out, that, as I said before, it's not all killer. There's some filler there, and you have to kind of do that. That's what makes you champions. And I think the fans played their part in the last 10 minutes, dragging Celtic over the line where they did create that chance, and eventually they broke the stubborn resistance of St Mirren. Big Dom saying, spot on, Tony, common sense approach. It's the only way forward. Big Dom, I've got to be honest. And obviously it'll run, but I think if everybody just sort of unites behind the common cause is Celtic Football Club. We all just want what's best for Celtic Football Club and the team and the manager, and so let's get an amicable resolution and quickly. Marquis saying the support spurred the team on when it mattered. Old school chants of Celtic just before the team scored, like that. Excellent. And lots of comments coming in, but I think everybody's just chuffed that they won. Francis Lester coming in and said, what bothered him about Turnbull's penalty was after he struck it, he stood with his head in his hands for the next passage of play, for follow-ups and rebounds, no attempt to attack the ball. I think the keeper made an outstanding save from Palmer's rebound. Absolutely. I've got to be honest.
Yeah.
So, it was a terrific save. I couldn't believe that he got to it. I thought it was in, I've got to say.
I think the goalkeeper's called Hemming.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
that I know that Dundee, or not Dundee, they're playing St Mirren tonight. That's a terrible gaffe on my part. But Hemming, I know there was a Kane Hemming that played
Kane
for
Hemmings that played for Dundee, yes,
the
yeah,
Dundee.
striker
Yeah,
was the
I think he
yeah,
played for Oxford United or
yes,
Oxford City as well.
signed.
But yeah, this is a different Hemming, but he's definitely a player that I think Celtic should look at. I think he looks like a really, really good goalkeeper. Apart from his slight,
Has he become a person of interest? Has he, Ryan? As I would say.
I think so. I think you look at the saves that he made. There was a couple of really, really good saves in the second half as well, including
He
that
also,
great
yeah,
save
but
on Kyogo.
yeah, save from Kyogo. Yeah, I still put that down as a
Same
bit
from James
misfit.
Forrest. There was a
Yes.
save from James Forrest just right before he was coming on. You knew it wasn't his night. That was the golden opportunity for him, and that's him missed a big chances in the last two games. You know, he's been. I don't want to say the writing on the wall because it's not. He's still got another couple of years on his deal, but I just think there's better options on the bench to come on. I think Yang showed that. It's all about if players can show that on a consistent basis, then Forrest will have to make do with making up the numbers in some games. But it's up to these players to make sure that they're in the team so that Forrest doesn't have a chance.
Players are in the starting 11 for a reason, right? The manager likes what he sees in training. I think a lot of what he decides is based on training, and sometimes you get a vibe from managers when they speak about certain players. And I got a vibe about James Forrest after Saturday and when he spoke on Monday. I'm not necessarily saying I wanted Forrest in the team at the expense of Maeda. I just felt that was what the man, because in all of these kind of things, I kind of switch on and tune in and listen. I try, as I say before, I try to connect dots and join lines, and sometimes you read it wrong, but a lot of the times you read it right because you've been around a lot of managers for a long time. I've been doing this for 26 years, which is more than half my life. So I think I've got a handle on it. I'll leave that to other people to decide that or not. But I kind of think I'm on steady ground when I speak about football and talk about managers. So yeah,
he was making all the motions that James Forrest would get an opportunity tonight.
It wasn't a surprise to me to see Forrest in the starting lineup. Now, if you're asking me, does Forrest take that opportunity? He clearly didn't. Have others taken that opportunity? Yang, Thiago Holm, of course they have. So now, but that's the headaches that managers want. That's why they come on as substitutes to impact the game. And these three guys come on at a critical period in the match when it was one each. It was on a knife edge. And, the spilling of another 2 Premiership points just wasn't in the equation. Certainly, when the manager puts them on, she's putting them on to win a football match. And 2 of those guys who came on substitutes have combined to create the winning goal. So you can't ask for any more than that. That's why they're on the park. And others who were on the park, as you say, Matt O'Reilly fell below his high standard, didn't he? But, you don't know if there's elements of being leggy and fatigue with him. And Turnbull, as you say, he scored a wonderful goal, but, and missed a penalty. But you're struggling in your eye test to see what other contribution he made. You'll look at the stats on that one to see if that bears out what you actually witnessed. I think there's still a talented player there in Turnbull. I'm not disputing that. I'm not denying that. But you kind of saw the good, the bad, and the ugly of Turnbull tonight, didn't you? The good, he can still rifle a shot in from 20 yards. That's a skill that's a top draw skill that he has in his locker at any given time.
He's got a rocket on him, without a doubt. That's the reason why he gets signed from Motherwell, because Celtic knew that he had that ability in him. I just think, and this is I don't know if this is harsh to say this, but he hasn't progressed in the way that I thought he would in the couple of years that he's been the club. Mm-hmm. Yes, he's been in and out of the team. He's had injuries. The problem was he got injured at that crucial moment in the League Cup final, and then by the time when he came back into the team, all of a sudden he had to fight with Matt O'Reilly and Rio Hatate. The cavalry had arrived in the form of Matt O'Reilly and Rio Hatate, who are now, you could see, 2 out of 3 in terms of Celtic's best midfield. They'll be in it. Unfortunately, the level got raised, and Turnbull had to raise his level, and I still think he's the same player that he was when Celtic signed him. Unfortunately, he's still got time to make that change. if Celtic give him a new deal and he can up it, but I do think he plays within himself too much.
I don't
think he needs to run games.
I don't question the manager's judgment on it, who still sees him clearly as a player who can start games for Celtic. So I bow to that. But like you, I do want more from him because I think he's very, very capable of producing more. And I think at times he looks a very composed and elegant footballer. But when I compare his composure and elegance to someone like Matt O'Reilly, it's night and day, isn't it? For me, anyway. And that's no slight on Turnbull. Just think Matt O'Reilly is a more composed and more elegant player. And it's no surprise that Matt O'Reilly is an automatic starter in this Celtic lineup and team, and that Turnbull's had to fight for his chances and opportunities. And I don't think, like tonight, he didn't make me sit up and take notice the way Thiago Holm did. And I'm relishing the fact that this guy could get an extended run in the team, because I think he could be excellent filling that Hatate void, that guile and creativity. And I'm going to go and watch that pass again for that old goal. Might put it on a loop, because things like that they just flick my switch and they float my boat. I love that.
It's a great first touch from Kyogo as well too.
Yeah, correct. People talk about
Kyogo get a key pass for that as well. Yeah, it was just a well worked goal.
I've mentioned this before, and people talk about Dembele, how great he was as a striker for Celtic and goals and stuff. But my favourite moments he's passed to Edouard at Ibrox, just the one that released him in the 3-2 game. The one that banned the one that got all the fans banned, because it was just so quick and it was just a sweeping, beautiful move. And it was the fact that the manager had put on a striker to go and win the game with 10 men. And clearly had said to Dembele, we might only get one shot at this. And he shunted it across. And it's brilliant. And I love things like that. It's not just the end product, i.e. the goal. I love kind of, the things that happen before it, because I think there's real football intelligence there. There's a clinical mind at work, and I bang on about players seeing the game in pictures and being 2 or 3 moves ahead. Thiago Holm was 2 or 3 moves ahead there, and the way he shaped his foot to, that's a cultured football pass. That's not many people can see that, and he obviously thought, if I put this in there, he's getting a shot at goal, which could conjure up the winner, and it did. So that's why these are things that that's why you go and watch football, to see top players produce that kind of moment, don't you? In pressure situations when your team needs it most.
Yeah, 20 years old as well. Thiago Holm, he's only 20 years old, and he's got just under 100 senior appearances. So he's not. I'm not going to call him a veteran, but for a 20-year-old to have that amount of games and
we spoke about that before. That shows a maturity that he off trials with Manchester United, didn't he? Or offered trials for Manchester United and various
nominated for the Golden Boy Award this year.
Big clubs, and he said no because he wanted to get a stack of games under his belt, first in games for his club in Norway, and then decided to take the move when he felt it was right. I love that. I really do love that, and I think the manager likes that about him. The manager's always bigging him up as a player and can see big things. And again, another one who Brendan Rodgers thinks is malleable. He can mould him and shape him into the player that he wants to be, and he can go to the places, can take his career to the places where he wants to go under the guidance of a manager who we still maintain is an elite level. He's elite level the way he works with players, and once he gets his claws into Thiago Holm, I think, you have another footballer in your ranks.
It reminds me,
tidy footballer.
I'm just trying to think of a comparison with a player that Rodgers would have worked with fairly recently. Maybe that centre midfield role, Yuri Tielemans, that was at Leicester, who's now at Aston Villa now. He was a young player coming through the ranks. But he had a lot of game time at Anderlecht before he made the move. I think he went to Monaco and then he went to Leicester. But so he was well travelled in his professional career, but still a very, very young age. With Holm Odin Thiago Holm. Yeah, he's one of those players that you don't say his second name. You know, those players that you say his first and his second name. It's always going to be Odin Thiago Holm. It's never just going to be Holm. That it doesn't sound right. So I think it will stick with Odin Holm, or Odin Thiago Holm, whatever you prefer. I'll definitely call him Odin Thiago Holm after that pass tonight. That is for sure. But he's another. I think your dog likes Odin Thiago Holm as well.
I think he does. I'm nodding his approval. I think
That's a saying. That's a saying. That's somebody saying that.
Giving him the full moniker.
Yeah.
When you go, sorry.
There's a popular phrase that goes about just now, and it's regarding players that get that bit of bite in them. It's like they've got that dog in them. I think Odin Thiago Holm has got that dog in him, because look at the foul that he wins at the end of the game in order to secure Celtic the victory. Yeah. I don't know if it was given as an offside at the same time, but there's a point where he takes a bump, and so does Yang. Yang at the end of the game takes a massive bump on his shoulder or his arm. But it kills the game, effectively, kills the flow of the game, and that's what Celtic needed. They need guys that are going to come in and take those bumps in order to secure the 3 points. Odin Holm, if you get that tackle on Cantwell at Ibrox at the end that secured Celtic the victory, it's these big moments that he's in. He's not afraid to do the dirty work as well, and I like him midfielder that gets stuck in too. Haggerty gets stuck in, and so does Odin Holm, and I think he'll do for me going forward in that midfield. He'll bring the guile that's required in Haggerty's absence. I want to see, by the time Haggerty's back, I want the Celtic supporters and people that cover Celtic to be saying the same that what people are saying with regard to Nawrocki and Liam Scales. You know, he's got a job in his hands to displace Odin Holm. This is his opportunity. Bernardo can feel unlucky that he didn't start the game or come on during proceedings. But Odin Holm's the main man now after that assist. You know, O will get all the credit for the goal. I think a lot of credit's going to go Odin Holm's way for that pass.
It's the assist for me. Yeah, it's just like
because the assist leads to a goal. You don't get an assist without a goal coming.
If he doesn't shape his foot like that and play that pass, it's not happening. So I mean, it's critical, it's crucial. The finish is exquisite as well. You just
that guile and finesse.
No messing about that. Yeah, that craft that you need to break St Mirren down. And I think it's a mark of respect when you give footballers a full moniker, isn't it? Odin Thiago Holm, Diego Armando Maradona, those kind of things. You just respect guys that can play football. And or as I used to call him, Brian Rice, ex-Hibs and Nottingham Forest. Because I said to someone, that's your full name. And he burst out laughing and he said it actually is, because every time his name was mentioned, it was always Brian Rice, ex-Hibs and Nottingham Forest. And I just kidded him on. I was like, is that your full name, your actual title, you know? And he would laugh. But yeah, I'm been flippant there, obviously, but yeah, I just loved that moment from Odin Thiago Holm. It's a special goal. It's a brilliantly crafted goal, and as you see, you can't underestimate Kyogo's touch either. It's just a wonderful 3-man move, and a blinking of an eye, the ball's in the net. Many touches, 1, 2, 3, 5 touches.
But four or five, and that But everybody around me was talking about, what a great finish it is from O. It's all about the pass. And that chance doesn't come to him, because it doesn't come to him unless an eye of the needle pass happens, because St Mirren were ready for whatever Celtic were throwing at them in an attacking sense. They had to bring out the quality. They had to bring out, not the big guns, but something, maybe the paintbrush in terms of artistry at the end of the game. There was a bit of art with that pass straight to Owen, and O does the rest, you know. But it was put on a plate for him because of the pass. It was perfect to him. All he needed to do was take one touch, put his laces through it, and it skied into the top of the net. I'll be honest, I thought he'd skied it over the bar.
Go and watch it again.
I know. I've watched it. I've watched it a couple of times since the goals went in. Even from full time to this recording, but yeah. And likewise with the Kyogo goal, I was celebrating because I thought he put it over the goalkeeper, and then it went out wide. I was like, what is going on here? Because you just expect that to be a goal, and I'm actually going back in my head now because I'm thinking about other chances that were in the game. There was a chance where Kyogo does something that it's just completely the wrong pass. So there's two men that he can pass to. He can either pass to O on the left hand side or Daisen Maeda, who's done his defensive duties and is through. If he gets the ball, he's basically one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Yes, he's at an angle, but he'll have a chance. And Kyogo takes O, and then O tries and plays it to Maeda. It's a total mess up of a great opportunity. Not complaining now, but it was at one each, and you're like, these chances, they can come back to haunt you. Thank goodness it didn't. But they've got to be more clinical. They've got to be more clinical in positions.
I think the manager, those are the fine tunings that the manager will be working on, or will be drilling into the guys, showing them the clips back and say, look, when you're in a situation like that, you have to be ruthless, punish teams more. And I know I joked about having an old-fashioned penalty kick competition, but I think Celtic seriously have to address that with the players and get
Brendan Rodgers is already. I've seen
a designated,
saying it as a problem.
Get a designated penalty taker, because I mean that's not since Aaron Moy left, and then you go back. I mentioned Musa Dembele. Musa was pretty good at them, wasn't he? So but I
thought Brown was quite good at them as well.
Yeah, you don't want it to become a problem moving forward, but you've missed 40% of the 5 you've been awarded this season. Not good enough for me. No, it's not. And that's the last 2 in the bounce you've missed. Last 2 in excuse me, sorry.
Because yeah, absolutely. I totally know you're having a bit of a coughing fit. So I'll put my point in with regard to now. Whenever Celtic get a penalty, we don't know when that'll be. Obviously, need to be a stone wall or whatever. But when Celtic get a penalty, now there's a bit of doubt whenever they get it. I know there's always going to be a doubt when Celtic get a penalty, because I think naturally the supporters are quite nervy when Celtic get a penalty, because they still need to convert it. They probably prefer if it was a chance in open play rather than a dead ball situation, because the pressure then gets lumped on the player. But now there's a bit of pressure. There's even more pressure, because the Celtic supporters and the people who cover Celtic don't know who's going to take a penalty now. It's up in the air. That jeopardy, or that sort of doubt in the head, it's not ideal, especially when you're stepping up in a high pressure situation.
I think it's also exacerbated by over the other end of the city, they've got an expert penalty taker. Whenever they get one, it's a goal. 9 times out of 10, and that kind of you can get good at penalties. Just a question of finding the right one, personally. But I think it's something that Celtic need to address moving forward, and get a designated penalty taker who can just put their laces through the ball and score. Basically, it's a free hit. You like your words like free hit. That's a free hit. That's the biggest and best free hit you can get in a football park.
You get Barry Robson as the Aberdeen manager, right? Just get him as a designated penalty kick taker. He doesn't need to do anything else. Just because he used to love thumping a penalty. That's what Celtic need. Somebody that's just going to put the laces for it. I think it'll probably end up being Palmer next time, to be honest with you. Yeah. If he's on the free kicks, either Palmer or Matt O'Reilly, one of the two. But the pressure's on them now, because
those who are older, Ryan, will remember Tommy Gemmell, who used to crack penalties in. Lisbon Lion, Tommy Gemmell. I think he had a cracking record. He used to scream them in from 12 yards, I believe. Somebody in the comment section will correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think he had a wonderful record, so it can be done. You can find a designated penalty taker who can convert a higher ratio than Celtic are converting just now. And you don't want it to become a problem moving forward. You want it to be sorted out sooner rather than later. That's just a wee personal gripe on that one. You know what I mean? So that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we covered absolutely everything with regard to the game. I'm trying to think of individual performers on the night. I think the fullbacks again were quite weak tonight, to be perfectly honest with you. I think Alistair Johnston's getting dragged into poor performances as well. That's the past couple of games he's really
there's
off colour.
A wee malaise with him, isn't there, the past couple of games, which you don't like to see. But again, I think the manager spoke about it as well, saying that it's been a pretty hectic run of games, right? And games away from home and takes a lot out of you, doesn't it? And that was another energy sapper. It took a lot out of Celtic, and a lot of mental and physical kind of concentration levels needed to keep going right to the end. So, thankfully they got their just rewards tonight. Didn't get them on Saturday, but it could have been a terrible week in terms of points had they not scored that late winner against St Mirren. So you're thankful for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, no complaints whatsoever. Would have been complaining if it was one each, but the fact they get the late winner and then they clinged on at the end. Maybe one other thing that I've got a problem with regard to this team is the short corners, because they're not working whatsoever in this team. There was a good 2 or 3 times where Celtic had a good position to put the ball into the box, and instead they passed it out to the man. Now that's all well and good if you've got an idea of where you're going to put it. But there was a point, specifically in the second half, where they passed it and then it went back the way. So all of a sudden, St Mirren could regroup, and it basically became like an outfield play rather than a set play again, because by the time it went back, then forward again, St Mirren had set themselves, and there was no advantage for Celtic in that set piece position. So, yeah, I think it's something that they need to work on. They've got Liam Scales and Nat Phillips, who are both not small between them. There's probably about 13 feet between the two of them. They've got to be getting on the end of headers. You know, Matt O'Reilly in the box as well. If Turnbull and O'Reilly are both on the pitch, get Turnbull taking the corners and Matt O'Reilly in the box, because he's tall enough to be getting headers on the ball. And Kyogo's a good header of the ball as well, and you can nip in at the far post, the near post or whatever. But yeah, I think corners have got to be utilised far better than this team. I know they scored from one a few weeks ago, but they need to be utilised better.
The conversion rate from corners from Celtic of late is shocking, really. Brilliant. William MacArthur's coming in. Thank you, William. Where is it? Tommy Gemmell was unmatched in penalty taking. Goalkeepers used to dread Celtic getting a penalty kick. He absolutely leathered the ball, usually high on the net. Yes, I knew Tommy Gemmell was famous for that. Brilliant. God rest him.
Did Roy Aitken take penalties for Celtic as
He
well?
used to slam them down the middle till he missed, I believe. But I think I remember him scoring one at Pittodrie where he slammed it down the middle, and I think the next one he tried the exact same thing and he missed. And
Feed the bear.
Yeah, feed the bear indeed. I think that's everything covered. But before we go, just remind everybody, Ryan, you can point to the top of the screen that Celtic Way has a new sponsor, and it's MPH Group, and they're the go-to people for plumbing, all your plumbing, heating, kitchens and bathroom needs. And we are delighted that the Celtic Way is brought to you by the MPH Group, Scotland's award-winning family-run all-trade specialist covering all of mainland Scotland. And every service you opt for automatically enters you into MPH's incredible holiday giveaway. And you could win a 7-night stay at the luxurious 5-star Moon Palace Resort in Cancun, Mexico. And MPH also currently have a winter deal available regarding boiler installation for just £1,795, which includes a free Hive thermostat, free first-year service, up to 12 years of warranty, a magnetic filter included, and flexible finance options from as little as £5 a week. So we say thank you to MPH Group for their sponsorship of the Celtic Way briefings, and all the links to their social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter, all that, are in the description of this video. So check them out. Their phone numbers there as well. So we say thank you to them for that. Thank you, MPH Group. And also, guys, before you go, you help us by subscribing to the Celtic Way website. It costs you £4 for 4 months or £18 subscription for a year. Why not take out a yearly subscription? That's a cracking deal, and help support top quality football journalism in the process, covering the club you love. Just hit that button. We urge you to do it every day. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. That's www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Thank you. Over 200 people joining us on the live feed tonight. We appreciate it. We try and read as many comments out as we can. We dissect the game in I think it's our own inimitable way, but we try and be as honest and open as possible and humorous as we can at times. But yeah, it's we enjoy it. We enjoy the interaction, and we thank you very much for staying up late, as they say, nearly 11:30, Ryan. someone's got to get home as well, haven't they?
Yeah, it's getting a wee bit colder. I've got a TikTok to record and then I'll head home. I'll go homeward bound. But yeah, it's always a bit easier when you've got 200 people watching you and supporting you and everything that you do. We really do appreciate everybody joining in the comment section and for your subscriptions both on YouTube and with the website as well. We can't do it without you. Please, if you haven't done so already, please do both, and please look at MPH Group as well. We really do appreciate them being our sponsors for the foreseeable future. So we thank them so much for giving us the sponsorship. And yeah, please subscribe to the Celtic website. We cannot continue to do it without you guys. £4 for 4 months, £18 for a year, or $2.99 as well. There's that offer there. $2.99 as a flat rate a month. So if you want to get involved, then please visit that website link below that's coming across the screen right now. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Please get involved. And I know you'll be off for the next couple of days, Tony. So it'll just be.
I am. Yes.
I'll need to find that. I'll need to find a shipmate. I need to find a shipmate to steer this.
I'm trusting the young gun to steer the ship in its in a dutiful direction. But yeah, couldn't put it in safer hands, my man. I'll away and fill myself with lime strips and try and be compos mentis for coming back on Tuesday. But yeah, always thank you for your contribution today. It's always stellar, my good friend. When we're doing it 3 times a day, it takes its toll. I think if Brendan Rodgers was to describe me, he'd probably say I'm leggy and heady and whatever and need my bed. You know what I mean? But cutledge in your discipline and sleep, that kind of thing. But yeah, thank you, sir. Always appreciate it. We enjoy bouncing off each other, don't we? So it's one of the joys of life, getting to talk and write about the club that you love and support for a living, and we never take that for granted. We never take the audience for granted either.
Never.
And we hope we try and endeavour to bring you some form of entertainment and joy as well. But we're only as good as the results of the team, isn't it? So
that makes it easier.
Yeah, indeed. So, guys, I'll leave you in Ryan's capable hands for the next few days. You'll be fine. I think you're going for a first trip to Dingwall, aren't you? In a working capacity?
Yep, absolutely, yeah. A
long
drive
that.
ahead. Yeah, a long drive ahead.
They're wonderful people. They're wonderful people up there. They treat you well, and you'll enjoy it. And here's hoping. Yeah. It's always result dependent, isn't it? So
I'll try and bring the luck with me.
Correct. Well, you brought it tonight, so even though you didn't bring your drum, note to self: bring your drum the next time. Right. In the words of Ken Dodd, I love drums. You can't beat them. I'm going to go to my scratcher. Ryan, thank you so much. Guys, thank you for tuning in. We do appreciate it. It's not lip service that we pay. We're quite humbled by the well wishers that we get and people just generally enjoying what we do, because we hope that passion shines through in both ourselves and the way we speak and act and talk about Celtic. So there you have it. Ryan, get yourself into your car and dry, my good friend, and I'll speak to you anon, won't I?
Yep, absolutely.
Guys, cheers, take care.
Thank you.
Enjoy the result tonight. Get that Odin Thiago home pass and winning goal on a loop. It's worth it. All right. Take care,
cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.